Hello and welcome to this Vectric Aspire tutorial. We are going to make a rather ornate, posh picture frame today. I came across a piece of mahogany, actually several pieces of mahogany, at a reclaiming station, and it was reasonably priced, very reasonably priced, so I bought it. And I'm going to make this rather spectacular picture frame. There's quite a number of procedures that I need to carry out because we're going to be machining both sides, but what I really want to do is show you how to make this design from a drawing. So that's what we're going to do next. So we've opened Aspire and we're now going to bring in a piece of art which is on my desktop, and here it is. Okay, so it's just a black and white bitmap at the moment, and I want to make it a little bigger than this, so we're going in and resize. So we're going to do in the X, we're going to do 400, and I think I worked it to be 510, 20 millimeters. Now in inches, for those of you who work in inches, that's what, 15 3/4 by just a little shade over 20 inches long, and approximately 3/4 of an inch thick. But I'm just used to working in millimeters. I will alternate doing the whole videos in metric and in inches to give everybody a fair go. So I always work on the top of the material block, and there's a good reason why we're going to be using the center for this, because we're actually going to be spinning this around and machining on the back. I am not using the double-sided method within Vectric Aspire because not everybody has that capability. Standard mahogany, and I actually am using mahogany, so I'm going to say OK there. Now I'm going to click on this, or double click on this, so I get some handles on it, and now I can fetch it out to fit our material or closely. You know, this is a piece of wood, it's a piece of art. It doesn't have to be within a thousandth of an inch. You know, within within a sort of, I suppose 20 thou is fine. So we're positioned on here now, and about the size, the critical size for me is the 400 across here. Like I was saying, I've got a piece of reclaimed mahogany. It's off an old desk, I believe. In actual fact, I found a label on it, which I'll show you in the machining video, that at some point it was either shipped or resold, not quite sure, in 1948. So who knows how old it really is. But anyway, so what we need to do is ask Aspire to pretty well draw around and make vectors on these shapes, and that's what this tool does here. Now we already have it selected, so Aspire knows that we want to work in this area here. It's already altered the color shading, so it understands what the picture is about, and really all you have to do is press preview to see if it is anything that you expect it to be, and there it is. It's as easy as that. A lot of people do have trouble with this, but It really is an easy thing to do. We're going to be V-carving these, so to be able to V-carve this and machine the backside of this, we're going to draw some more vectors of our apply. Okay, we can close that now and we have our vectors. Now at the moment, if you press on one vector, they all light up because they're all connected to each other. So we want to work on one particular vector, which is this one here, because we want to duplicate it, but we can't because everything else is selected. So we have to split up the vectors. In other words, deselect the vectors. And we also want the outside edge to be a separate vector. So you come in here to the chain and say, well, ungroup them, unlock it, which is that, and you'll notice that the vectors have changed to a dotted line. So that means if we come off and deselect, we can then come back on and select an individual vector. So what we need to do is select that one, then we need to offset. Now first of all, I'm going to offset inwards 5 millimeters. Now it will become apparent of why I want to do this shortly, because I actually want to do a pocket on the other side. When I finish machining this, turn it over on the bed and just machine a pocket out here, so I can put a picture in there. But I don't want to break through into the V-carve areas, so I need a boundary layer. So let's make a boundary layer. There's one boundary layer. Okay, now I'm going to close that a second, but I'm keeping that selected because I want to put another boundary outwards, and I want that one to be, I think this one's 10 millimeters. Let's try it. Yep, that's it. Okay, you'll notice that at no point does it go over onto the white, so that means we're not going to break through. Although I could actually V-carve this and machine the whole back out and have it, you know, make it break through. That might be a nice effect as well. Maybe we'll do that on another one, but for this one we don't require it. So we have our two vectors there that we needed. We actually need this one as well, so I'm going to deselect that now. So now I have to join vectors up and separate them. So I'm going to hold the shift down, left click, sweep over all the vectors I want to select. Okay, so I want to press shift again and click on that one and that one, because we want to deselect them. In actual fact, we want to deselect this one as well. Okay, so we've deselected the three in the front because we want to gather all these up together to do the V-carving. We can close that and we can select the chain and group them. So they've gone to a single line now, so we know they're grouped, and we don't want any of the others grouped at all, because in actual fact we do. We want that one. Oh, I can pick it. That one and that one grouped together and group. Okay, so we got two actual grouped vectors now. That's the V-bit carving and the pocket, which are going to be done on the other side. And of course this one we're going to machine the center out, and this one we're going to machine the whole thing out of the base material. Okay, there's one more thing we need to do, and that is to put a register hole in the center, so we have something to line up the 6mm tool that basically is going to be doing most of this. We're going to use two tools, just a V-bit to carve the V-bit carving and a 6mm end mill. But we're going to use that 6mm end mill, and we're going to use that 6mm end mill to line everything up for us to make sure that we are in the center. Actually, let's do that. 0 and 0, and we're going to make this 6mm, and we're going to apply. Okay, so all our vectoring and drawing for this particular job is now completed. So now we can go straight to the tooling. Now I think the first thing we're going to do, and in reality the first thing we're going to do, is the V-bit carving. So this is the V-bit carving here. Yep, start depth 0. As we're working in millimeters, we'll choose the millimeter one that I have, and we're going to OK that, and we're going to edit this. It's let's just check everything is correct. It's 32mm, which is about 1.25 inches actually. 90 degree. If you use a 60 degree on this, it'll just go too deep, because you know, the thickness of the material is only just about 3/4 inch. Oh, 10mm. No, that's a bit much. It's mahogany, it's quite hard, so we're going to go 5mm. Final pass 0.5 millimeter, which is, what's that, about a 32nd of an inch, something like that. 0.5. It's actually a little bit more than that. It's about a 40th of an inch. Starting to confuse myself now. Clearance pass, that's how far the tool is going to be lifted off the material, which is fine. Spindle speed 12,000, that's okay. Feed rate that might be, going into mahogany, that might be a little fast. I'm gonna knock that back to I'm gonna do, say, 25 actually. That actually 25.4 millimeters is 1 inch per second, so that's 60 inches a minute. That's fast enough for a large tool like this, I'm sure. Plunge, I normally do 50% of whatever the feed rate is. I think that works out fine. So we're going to say, I'm just going to say 12 millimeter. 12.7 millimeter is 1/2 inch. Okay, we can leave this as tool number 1. That's fine. We're going to say OK. There is no climb milling or anything like that with this. Ramp, I don't think we need a ramp either. Safe distance over the material 5 millimeter, that's fine. This is our 0, 0, 5 millimeter safe Z. A VCAV 1 calculate. So the next thing we're going to do is drill this center section. Everything else now is done with a 6 millimeter end mill. So there's only 2 tool changes here. So we're going to drill the center. So we're going to go to a drilling tool path, and yeah, 20 millimeters is fine. Select. I'm already selected with the 6 millimeter. 6 millimeter is roughly quarters of an inch. Okay. Edit. We're not worried about the step over. Step down 3 millimeter. Probably 2 millimeter. This is, you know, pretty hard stuff, and I want to be able to allow this to clear. Feed rate. Well, actually, not worried about the feed rate. Plunge rate, we are worried about. I'm going to say 5 millimeters a second. That's about quarters of an inch, or just under quarter of an inch. So we're going to OK that. So we're going to use PEC drilling. Not worried about the dwell. Let's see, let's calculate this, see what happens. Didn't go all the way through, did it? Let's turn that off so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to say 21 millimeters. Calculate. That's okay, we want it to go through. And close. So our next operation then is this one, and this one is a profile. 20 millimeters, that's fine. Actually, we want this one to cut all the way through, so we're going to go 20.5. Let's say 0.5, and it's the 6 millimeter again. 20 millimeter feed rate. That's just about 3/4 of an inch a second. So that's about 30 inches per minute. Feed rate 10. Plunge, I think we're going to go down to 5. That's quite fast enough. 1/4 inch a second, that's okay. Inside, we want to cut the inside. Just check here again. 2.5 millimeter pass, that's going to be okay. I'd rather it take a little bit more time to machine this than you know, get it done quickly, because this is mahogany and I don't want it splintering. Okay, these definitely, and we're going to go a 3D. In other words, it's going to machine sort of a ramp like this, exactly what you can see here. 12 millimeter, 3 millimeter. I'm going to give it an extra millimeter here. I'm going to go 4. 12 millimeters long. Edit tabs. I'll put 4 in there. Add the tabs. Actually, I'll move these tabs, I think. No. That was telling me, you know, do I want it where the machine enters, where the tool enters? No, not necessarily. I want one put there. one put there. Just makes it easier to cut through. One there. One there. Now that'll be fine to hold it, because I need to take this off, turn it around, use this center hole to line up with the tool, and then clamp this back down on the bed to machine the back side of it out. That's good. And we're going to say profile 1. That's okay. Calculate. We know it's going to cut through. That's fine. Okay. Perfect. And close. Back to the 2D screen. Now, this pocket next. Okay, 6mm tool again. So we'll just reselect it. Edit. Diameter 6mm, passing depth 3mm. That's probably pretty fair, but we got 2.5. 2.5 step over, that's okay. This is way too fast. Although you can alter this in Mark 3. 5mm. Like mahogany does tend to splinter if you go at it too hard. Let's just check that a minute. Yep, that's okay. New climb. Yes, I always use climb milling. It just makes a better finish. Incidentally, when I rotate this over and use this center hole to line it up with the tool and clamp this on the bed, I should be cutting through these that hold the center panel in and removing this center panel, so really it's just cutting out that piece there, and it's not going to actually touch the inner pad at all, if you get my meaning. Pocket 1, calculate. Yep, that's fine too. And close. And the next one is cutting the final cut out. In actual fact, I'll probably cut it out of the main body of the material before I flip it over, but I haven't made my mind up about that quite yet. Profile all the way through. Select 6mm. Okay. Edit. 2.5. 2.5. We're not worried about that. We are worried about that. 25mm. And we'll do this one at 5. Nicely, and it'll be okay. Outside. Climb. Not worried about that. No need to put I could put them on, but probably no real need to. We will. We put in tabs 3D. That could be knocked back down to 1/8 of an inch, which is 3mm. Edit tabs. 1, 2, 3. we'll have 4 tabs. One on each flat side, I think, because there's a little bit of rough material on this side, at the bottom and the one side. Add tabs. Nope. Put this one right there. This one here. This one here. And this one here. Close. Everything else here is okay. No need to have ramp moves. We've taken care of that in setting up of the tool cut. We're going in very sedately, or sedately, I think might be the right word. Calculate. Yep, we know we're going to cut through. Okay. So the only thing to do now is to make sure that everything is going to happen the way we think it's going to happen. So, and we're going to preview. Oh, let's slow this down. I'll show you this twice actually. I'll do this fast. This is the fastest that you can run it, and you know, you just don't have any chance to see what's going on really. I'll just show you. Boom. It doesn't give you any real chance. So we're going to reset that. I'm going to slow the process right up to about halfway, and then preview all. Nope. Preview all the toolbars. And you know, you can go even slower than this. And what you see on here is exactly what's going to happen on the machine. Except obviously that this cut that it's doing right now is going to be done on the other side when it's flipped over. So there you go. Doesn't that look absolutely lovely? And of course this is a substantial size as well. And it's going to look beautiful in mahogany. I think that is no, it's dark oak. And this is how you change to mahogany. And that's a pretty fair example of mahogany too, because that's what the material, well, obviously the material I got is aged and it does have some varnish on it, and I'm going to be actually machining this in the underside of the material that I've got, because on the top side there's a few, I don't know what someone has done to it. They've pinned something to it, something square, and there is marks there, so but yeah, I'm not really bothered about that as long as this front face side it looks how it should. And yeah, we'll give this piece of, well, 80-year-old, minimum 80-year-old reclaimed piece of mahogany a new lease of life on someone's wall. So the next thing we need to do now is to post these tool paths. So we'll do a VBIT carving, and it's a G-code tap file. This is a general G-code. It could be G-code inch tap or G-code millimeter tap. So we're going to save this one to a USB device. So V-carving, and we'll save that one and drill in, save that one. Very quick. Profile, save that one. Pocket 1, save that one. Profile 2 and save that one. So there we have it. Let's just bring that out, and we'll actually bring that out. Close that. Okay. Incidentally, if you want something to stay out here, see this little pin? Press that and it'll stay there. It won't keep popping back in. So there you are. That's a beautiful, beautiful, I think anyway. And of course the next video, maybe the next video, I'm not really sure yet what I've got slated, but I do intend to carve this very shortly and video it and get it up for you. So all I've got to say now is please like and subscribe, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's been informative for you. If there's any questions, please leave a message in the comment section and I shall endeavour to answer it for you. So thank you for joining me, and it's bye for now.